When you start your account and first go to the schedule, you're going to see a bunch of green lines. This is showing you how many potential people you have working. So in my system, I have 6 employees. So I'm seeing 6 out of 6 available every day until something like PTO is submitted. So along this top of the screen here, you've got your total employees, you've got approved PTO for the month, and then you've got your daily average capacity. Daily average capacity is going to fluctuate when you start approving PTO and holidays, those types of things. It's focused on making sure that you have full coverage, and the calculation is based on the days that have employees off. So it's not taking into account your full availability days, if that makes sense. So when you scroll here, you can go to previous months, current months. I wanted to show you some things that are already in here done before we go to July. You can copy the entire month to Excel, and then you've got your audit log down here, which is very helpful for when there are changes being made so that you know exactly what's going on and who did it. Now, when you want to email the calendar to employees, you can do that as long as you set them up with an email. You just hit email and they will get an exact identical copy to this screen. Very bright, colorful, easy to read. They can print it, put it up on the wall, whatever you'd like to do. And every time you make changes to it or edit it, you can choose to send it to the employee. Now, if I'm on the employee screen, you'll see that the employee does have the option to click into their shifts. And it says no scheduled shifts in the next 2 weeks. So they don't actually need the emailed schedule. It will pop up here for them. This is where they can also suggest one or submit their blackout times, like times they can't work. So let's hit close here. What I am going to do is have this person submit PTO right now though, so you can see how that works. So let's say they want to take July 8th off. They can do PTO, sick, personal, or a custom one. Let's say they just need 4 hours off, and they can put a note in here to you, and let's hit submit. Now when I go back over here to my current month, you'll see that in the hot pink, matching the legend, this is a PTO request. And if I hit approve, it will send it to the time clock page. If I go here and 7/8, this person's on vacation for 4 hours. So if I go back here to the calendar, now that it's approved, it's in this color. And that is how PTO works. And now the employee can click on their PTO balance at the bottom of the screen and see their PTO. This is my test account, so there's a whole lot going on there, but that's where they can see it. So then if I go back here to the schedule and I click on, let's say the 10th, I am able to see that there are no PTO requests. I could add a holiday if I wanted. You can uncheck if you only want to add it for a few people. Click add holiday and you'll see the orange appear here. Holiday does not count towards PTO. It is completely separate from the system. So you have 4 PTO options and then holidays as well. So they don't come out of the bank. If you wanted them to come out of the bank, you could treat the custom field as holidays instead of using the holiday function. So if I go back here and I say that, let's say we wanted Peyton to work, let's start the actual schedule function. So I have the ability to copy shifts if they already existed here, but they don't. So if I've got Peyton here, let's say you could name this particular project. You could say the job is 1, 2, 3, or actually we could say maybe it's a house job and maybe the location is 1, 2, 3 street. And then you can type in your times. Let's say it's a 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And then let's save the schedule. And now you can see that someone is working. If you wanted someone to have an option to work on this day, you could request shift coverage. I'm going to close this, and on this day, I'm going to do the shift coverage. So I'm going to select the employee. I'm going to use the same employee, make it easy. Let's say I want 1 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. And again, you can say the job, location, project, and then send the offer, and you'll see that this is now pending. So now if I go back over here to the employee login again, and I click on schedule this time, you'll see a couple different things here. You're going to see that we've got PTO is scheduled. I did zoom out on this so that you can see it a little bit better as far as the whole screen goes, but that's why this font is a little bit small. So there we go. This is what the employee would see. So So let's see here. Wednesday the 8th, we're on PTO. Friday, we're on a job. And so you can either suggest the shift, you can suggest a different one, or you could swap the shift. Friday, there's a holiday, and then Saturday, this is an offer. So the employee would be able to check their schedule and say, well, I don't have any other shifts on Saturday, so I'm either going to deny it or I can accept it. If they accept it, you can see that it went away. And then now when they pull up their schedule again, whether it's an email version or here, it's going to show as a regular scheduled shift. So if you wanted to submit blackout dates, they could say like the 13th through the 14th. Usually you'd probably use PTO for this if it's a typical employee situation, but you might have contractors, or you might have, who knows what you might have working for you in the situation where you don't really have PTO, especially if it's a part-time person and they just need to be able to work certain days. This is a great way to be able to take care of that. So let's say, actually, let's just say the 13th from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. they cannot work. But all the rest of the time they're fine. So you could repeat this if this was every single week. We could repeat weekly until the 31st. And it does show your past blackout dates, and then let's hit submit. So if I close this and move this over, you can see the blackout makes it easy where this employee cannot work. So it's really helpful if you're trying to plan and you're trying to schedule, you know that those people are not going to be available. So again, if I go back here, I think we've covered most of it. Yeah, and you can see these blackout shifts. So it's a reminder to the employee as well that they had already tried to work for these days, but there are blackouts on that day. Now, if they wanted to suggest a new shift, they could say, well, actually, I can work on the 17th and maybe I could work 1 o'clock. Let's do AM to 4 o'clock AM, especially if it's like a hospice situation, medical, type company, then I'm going to send the suggestion. And now you can see that there's a suggestion here. So when I'm going through to schedule as an admin, I can click on this and say, oh, this is, fantastic. Somebody already wants to work this day. So we're going to go up here and we're going to approve it. And so now you've got your person working. So those are the main features of the schedule. You've got a lot of flexibility when it comes to blackout dates and allowing shift swapping. And one thing I didn't show you though is if the employee actually wants to swap with someone. So let's do that real quick. So let's say I can't work on Friday, it turns out. So what I can do is I can try a swap. So it'll tell you here that these employees are not scheduled. If they were, you would want to pick someone who's scheduled. But let's say you're in a bind and it's like they texted the employee and they're like, yep, that person is totally fine working. You could pick that employee anyway and say that, we talked and they can work. And then you're going to send the request, making sure. And now if I close this and go back here, it's going to highlight for you that there is a swap requested. So this particular employee, if I click this, wants to swap with 100 employee. Okay, if they said it, you might want to verify it, but if you trust them, then you're good. And now you can see that Nicole was put in place of Peyton. And so, like I said, if there's employees scheduled, that makes it a lot easier. You could pick their shift if it's a swap 1-for-1, but then you also have the option if they're not scheduled. Now, if employees had blackout dates, that would help so that you have an idea and know exactly if you could approve that swap or not. All right, so that's primarily everything for the schedule. Let's see here. You've got denied and removed PTO. So if someone were to submit PTO, that like hot pink would show up, and if you deny it, it's going to show in a light gray. And scheduled people are in blue. And this is what, a more full schedule might look like. Now, if you want to ask Doot to help you fill out the month, you can put some different times and days in here and fill the month yourself after the suggestion is given, or you can have Doot help you and then he'll populate this. So like, for example, he populated all of these. And so it makes it a lot easier, but there is a copy function in here. So if you picked, like Stephanie's working on this day, you can copy that shift and then you can actually copy the entire day's work schedule as well. So you can copy full days. So lots of ways to make this more efficient. If you have any feature suggestions or ideas, we're always happy to hear them. Or if you just want a demo to see how this could work for your specific work case, let us know at team@executethevision.com.